Welcome. I'm Hoden Yosef, and thank you for joining us for this interview. I really appreciate the opportunity. You are so well known across this country. You've studied and worked towards getting your doctorate. So impressive. Could you perhaps tell us a bit more about yourself? Well, I guess there are several things, and one that comes to mind is, yes, I recently completed my doctorate, so I become a Doctor of Applied Linguistics in Education. Other things of note, I'm a teacher, I'm a body movement artist, I provide workshops and seminars and lead activities, I'm an independent researcher, that's something I do in my own time, and I guess just a number of different things that I quite enjoy. I love doing a variety of things. Could you tell us something humorous from your background? Sure. Something interesting about me? There's a very small contingent of people who know me quite well, and just know that there's this little something about me, and that is that I typically wear something pink. So even if you look at me right now, the jacket I'm wearing is a pink jacket. But in many of the important moments in my life, you'll notice the pattern of wearing pink. That's I consider it my charm, my good luck charm, and it makes me feel comfortable when I wear pink. And you may think I'm odd when I say this, but I'm actually a very shy individual, and when I wear pink, I feel like a different person, more comfortable. My favorite color is actually red, but I don't wear red, I wear pink. So I guess that's unique about me. What inspired you most when you were growing up to be who you are today? Gratitude. Just being thankful for what I have, not looking at something and wishing that I had it, but to be thankful for that which I do have and accepting it, being satisfied with that, always being satisfied and accepting. What motivates you? Transformation. Transformation, the idea of turning things on their head. The way of thinking, like there's old ways of thinking and transforming that, being willing to change it up. Being in today's modern area, we're in the 21st century. So transformation as it relates to children, deaf children, regardless of what level of hearing they may have, because that is irrelevant. What is important is that they have access to language, sign language specifically. Sign language leads to educational access. And that's because children are so unique in the way they think about things, the way they talk. It's just amazing. We need to be able to showcase them. The children are amazing. We shouldn't forget them. Everything we do is for them. They are the next generation. So that's what motivates me to keep working towards transformation for them. How do you want people to be impacted? Like, what kind of an influence do you want to have on them? I think ultimately we are all the same. Yes, of course, we have different roles in life, but the one commonality is around advocating. Advocating for sign language access. Because, again, as I explained earlier, having access to sign language leads to education, and that leads to experiences. Having language and experiences, like that's life. The things they see and they start to understand the things around them, being able to explain to children as they start to then understand the way things work, the way things are, and why. Children are so inquisitive. They ask a lot of questions. So being able to share that knowledge, to convey it to them. Don't assume that they don't know. Don't assume that they know something. Tell them and share it with them. That helps them to make the connection between language and experiences, and that leads to education. I want people to see that. As for how, for example, with my dance body movements, people question how that relates to language and life experience. And I say, let's go back to what's behind the story. I don't dance to music and sign lyrics. I just don't do that. I don't use music at all. No beats. It's just about my body and the movements. And it's a story. It's a story without sign or speech or music. And yet I want people to watch what I'm doing and being able to interpret that. Interpret the message behind it. It might be a message about oppression, about racism, or the struggle for educational access. It could be a number of things, but all of those things, those struggles relate to an interaction as a human to another human, that social interaction that we have with each other. I show those messages through dance. I don't say anything, and that connection is made because it's their experience too. Growing up, we've all experienced it, and therefore we understand it when we see it. Art is so incredibly powerful. It can convey so much. Stories like that, I mean, there are issues, of course, but it's about being able to tell the story, not in a written form, not by speaking it, but by being able to show it to someone quietly and have them sit back, watch it, and understand it. Interesting. The Black community sees all of your accomplishments and, of course, is impressed. You broke through barriers. How do you influence your community to show them that the barriers can be overcome? Well, okay, I have experienced challenges and frustrations, but those challenges didn't leave me stumped. Whenever I faced one, I chose to set it aside and pivot, if you will, just go another direction. I took a different path. Let me give you an example. I was in a deaf day program, and then I got placed into a mainstream setting. However, at this mainstream setting, I was placed in a special education class. I was placed there because of where I had come from and because of what I looked like. When I was placed in that class, I didn't just sit back and accept that. I challenged it. I questioned why. And once I understood why I'd been put there, I set out to prove them wrong. I wrote a paper and gave it to them. I challenged them to judge me based on that paper. It was really self-advocacy to be able to demonstrate that I was capable of more. I challenged them to give me something more demanding, more difficult, and I completed that and then handed those back to them. I found creative ways of showing them and challenging them. That was in the mainstream setting, but then I moved to a school for the deaf and the same thing happened to me because of the color of my skin. I challenged them and eventually worked to become the top student. When I was ready, I went back to the mainstream setting and persisted. Take on the challenge. When it feels like it could be too much, no, just wait. It is so worth it. Persevere. It feels so good. You will feel so good when you take on that challenge. What in your life so far has made you feel the most pride? As I just said, working hard to show what I was capable of and persisting to make it through those obstacles. For me, the pinnacle moment of pride was becoming a teacher. Graduating and getting my teacher's certificate. All of the struggles I'd been through up till then, realizing that I was actually going to be a teacher, that I had the paper to prove it. That was such an emotional moment for me. And that was a groundbreaking for the rest of my journey. That led me to getting my doctorate. So that's the moment. With all of your achievements, what is it that keeps you going? Just staying positive. Optimism. Just being positive and, of course, a healthy support system. Having supports in place, people that motivate you. It's like when you're running a marathon, right? I mean, sure, you need to have the determination. You can't do it alone, right? Because you lose your energy. But when you've got people on the sidelines cheering you on, supporting you, that gives you motivation to keep going. It's like that. You keep going when you have a good support system and you can achieve what you set out to. So optimism and a support system. What advice do you have for the deaf community? Passion. Motivation? Yep, passion, motivation. With any job you do, if you don't have the passion, then it's not the right fit for you. But when you love what you're doing, you can't help but keep doing it. The passion drives you and makes sure you have a healthy support system around you to support you, and then you will succeed. Okay, my last question. What sign do you hate? I hate the sign doubt. Okay. Then what sign do you love? What do you like seeing? Being open-minded. Taking a look at things from all sides. And so what excites you about the future? Trying new things. Dabbling. Trying them out. Oh, well, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. It's been wonderful. Don't give up. Pursue your dreams. You've been a great role model for the community, for the Black community, to look up to you and to know that they too can achieve similar successes thanks to your sage advice. Thank you so much.